All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. So we have Miguel with us, who is currently traveling in Dubai. He does a lot of work with the residencies, passports, establishing 0% tax residencies. And he's also recently gotten himself into Palau as a resident. So there's a lot of different things we're going to be talking about. I heard through Miguel himself, through Palau, he did an interview with the actual government, which, someone in the government, which is actually quite rare these days, which was able to do, and actually show his experience of what's actually been happening behind the scenes. So why don't we just start there, because that's kind of why I started finding out about you about getting the Palau residency. Why don't you just walk us through getting that? I mean, have you got it yet, or what's been happening with Palau?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thanks for having me here on the show. We can talk a lot about a lot of things. It's a passion of mine to stack residencies. One of them is Palau. And yeah, basically, it's very simple. It's an online process, a digital residency. It's something innovative, something that's pioneer in the world. It can be done 100% online. We know other e-residencies like Estonia, but to me, Estonia, all the people that I talk about, like the clients that I had from Estonia, to be honest with you, is to close the Estonian company and to get rid of the e-residency in Estonia. So definitely Palau is one of the best out there. It's still in beta, I would say. Most of the features they have right now are still going to be developed and improved. So I see it as an asset, something that for a very affordable price you can get online in 10 days. I already have it. It's on the mailbox. Like I don't have it here, but it's an ID card similar to what it could be like an Emirates ID or any other of these residencies. I stuck a few of them. Like this looks like a magic trick, but these are all plastics that open doors to the world. I have 7 residencies. I have plenty of credit cards, debit cards, and these plastics, this stack of plastics over here, are doors to the world, ways to make easier the traveling or the transferring of money. So in this case, the Palau residency was a well strategy to um, be able to verify myself, especially in crypto exchanges or in Airbnb and other online platforms, in a way that I don't need to share, for example, my Emirates ID of Dubai, or I don't need to share my Spanish residency or the Paraguayan residency or any of the other 7 in total that I have. So it's a diversification strategy. It allows you to protect yourself and to give yourself a bit more, choice. How you want to register, how you want to present yourself in specific companies and a specific, yeah, portals, let's call it. So really straightforward. Great job. The Palau team, as you mentioned, I interviewed one of the people in the government leading, Jay. Is leading this Palau residency, and something that, yeah, it's cool to talk with him and to have the answer from him directly. I can hear you right now. There we
Okay,
go.
yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's amazing to hear. I saw a lot of cards there in your hands. Um, but yeah, 7 residencies is very impressive. So essentially, it's also a good thing with the Palau because it's very new. And I heard like, the Binance CEO was doing stuff that I'm not sure exactly what, but they're becoming very crypto friendly, right? So there's a lot of crypto things they're doing when it comes to their whole like economy. So which is very interesting to see. And then more importantly, it sounds like they're going to be allowing all residents to open a 0% tax company in the upcoming future and like have an address as well. So is that something you're going to be doing as well, like setting up that company and leveraging that, or are you only interested in like residencies?
Yeah, totally. I have multiple companies around the world. We help our clients, successful wealth individuals, to open offshore companies around the world. Palau, it's fantastic because it's geographically out there. It's like separated from the mainland. It's for people to locate Palau. It's close to Australia, close to New Zealand. It's on Oceania, so they can put it in a map. And it's a place that I like to invest in assets in general, and I see Palau as an asset. When I talk to, Jay Anson, and when I see the team behind this, and I know who is running this and what they are doing, and I know the roadmap, it's like let me get in right now. Let me be an early adopter because I'm gonna have rewards later on the line. So no big risk. As I mentioned, the time that I did it, it's under $250, was $248. to do it, something that's really affordable. We don't know in the future, but I secured my spot with that. And there's no downside. Like, I studied this in depth. I actually wrote a thread on that as well on Twitter. So if people want to know the pros, the cons, why I did it, why I see it as an asset, etc., it's there. It's right now pinned on the profile. If not, they can find it on YouTube, Miquel Palau, or on Twitter, Miquel Palau. They're gonna find it. And yeah, basically a lot of upside, non downsides. I made the move, the chess move.
Sounds amazing, bro. Sounds amazing. So like, what's because like, let's say Dubai and Singapore. Like, if we, if you were there like 15 years ago, obviously things are a lot cheaper. It's much easier to get in and do stuff and get around. Whereas now, if you look at Singapore and they just don't need you as much, so it's much difficult to get around. So someone like Palau is obviously very early and is giving up some of these offers of 0% tax and being able to like live there like almost the whole year. So what do you see this like? What do you see it becoming in the next like 10, 15? Do you see this becoming like Singapore is like, or somewhere like Dubai, or maybe like in between? Like where you see like advantages to kind of get in besides like the residency? Like, are you looking at the real estate maybe or other things like that?
To be honest, I don't see it like that. I believe that what's gonna blow up it's Saudi Arabia, Dubai, the Middle East. It's gonna just go crazy in the next 10, 15 years. If you ask me for Palau, I don't see that massive growth especially because of the location. It's still difficult to get to Palau. It's a long flight. Like, the time zone is just the extreme of the world. So, for example, working with the United States or working with Europe, it's difficult time zones. It's not as simple as Dubai, for example, Middle East. So that can make it a bit difficult. Also, the size. Compare the size of Palau, tiny island, with other places that you mentioned, like Singapore, Dubai, the UAE. So it's not that much of, oh yeah, I'm looking to live there, but it's nice to diversify on the options. I see more the integration that Palau is creating, the collaborations, the cooperation they are creating with Airbnb, with exchanges like Binance. If somebody like Tim Draper or, for example, Vitalik Buterin, the CEO of Ethereum, they did the residency in Palau, they are digital residents of Palau. Like, why these people are making this? So many times we can listen to people what they say, but what I like to do is see the moves. One thing is the word, and everybody can post a video on YouTube talking about whatever they want, but let me see the moves of people that are visionaries, people that are ahead of me in certain aspect. So then it's where I start going down the rabbit hole. I like, for example, I had the opportunity to talk with Jay, somebody in the government. We've been discussing things off camera as well. So when I was seeing, okay, now I see the scenario of Palau, now I see what they are doing, I thought it was smart to make it right now.
Sounds good. I mean, yeah, I can agree with you on some of those points. Obviously, it's very far away, and it's like Maldives in some way, but we'll see how it plays out. But maybe there's other ways to capitalize on it, where you can get like some early like kind of movers advantage. So I'm just curious on like what was your first because I watched because from what I know you're from Spain originally, right? Because if you're from Spain and you left Spain, so what was like your first? Okay,
From
all right, there
Spain.
we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
Espanol. So what was like your
Espanol.
first like stop? Like because like when you left Spain, what's like the first thing you did to kind of escape, the Spanish matrix or like the EU?
Yeah, totally. Definitely, I think it's the right word that you use, the matrix, because Spain, when you start making money, Spain is not a good place to have a business. We see businesses that were founded in Spain that are living and they are enjoying, growth just for the fact of reducing the taxes. Because people can talk about, oh yeah, I make $1 million, oh I make $10 million, oh this. Wait, wait, wait. One thing is revenue, the other thing is net profit. I don't care how much you make, how much you keep. That's the real question. So that's what I learned with my first online business in 2018. I was doing a nutrition online. sold nutrition courses, programs. That was my background in university. I graduated from that degree. And when I started making money, Spain started taxing me like crazy. I became really quickly on the highest bracket, and I started paying 52% in taxes. At the point, I was like, is this legal? I talked to my accountant and I told her, is this legal? They can like just take that amount of money out of me every single year. And she said, well, yeah, if you don't like it, you can leave. And at the point I was like, wait, I'm not joking, I'm gonna leave. I searched. I was like, wealthy people for sure are not paying these taxes. There must be smart people that know how to just find a way around that. And I started going down this rabbit hole. And 2019, I searched, and I made the move. I escaped Spain tax wise. I of course keep my residency, of course keep my passport, so it's I keep the best of it. I can go there and enjoy the tourism, Spain, visit the family, friends, go to the beautiful natural landscapes that we have in Spain, but I don't pay taxes in there. And legally, I moved to my first tax haven, where instead of 52% in taxes, I paid that year 2.65%. So just by making this move, I could still make the same six figures, but instead of keeping 50,000, I could keep 100,000. Make 100,000, keep 100,000. That was a game changer. Same work, double the profit.
So where did you go though exactly? Like your first stop?
Cyprus.
All right.
Cyprus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You went Cyprus. Fair enough. Yeah, you went Cyprus. But because I've noticed you talk and then about Paraguay a lot as well. So like, where else did you go? Like, so you went to Cyprus. So you know, let's start with Cyprus. Like, what did you do in Cyprus then? Like, did you set up a company, residency, like passport? Like, what did you do there?
Yeah, exactly. When you spend more than 60 days per year in Cyprus, that's what I did. I spent somewhere in there 60 days, you become a resident and you can become a tax resident. So you don't pay taxes. You are not taxed basically on dividends. So I created a company. From that company, I sent my son's dividends, and these dividends were basically tax free. And this 2.65% was the social security in Cyprus that you need to pay. So it's basically nothing. It's I could keep almost everything, all my money. And the good thing is that from Spain, you cannot go to a tax haven directly because Spain has a blacklist. If you go from Spain to one of the tax havens, I'm not going to mention here because they change every year. So the best thing is to Google tax havens in Spain, like blacklist tax havens, and people will find the updated list. If you go directly from Spain, you escape the tax system and go to one of these, you're still going to have trouble with Hacienda, which is the tax organization in Spain. It's the mafia there in Spain. So what you had to do is go through a rich country. One could be Cyprus, or for example Paraguay, which is today, at the time of shooting this, is not on the blacklist. So yeah, when I discovered that in Paraguay I didn't have to spend any time in there to keep my tax residency, and in Cyprus every year I had to spend 60 days. It's like it's not that bad, but I prefer the freedom of having to spend zero and keep a 0% flat 0% than having to spend 60 per year, to keep my tax residence in Cyprus and still pay 2.65. So that's when I start thinking, okay, makes more sense to move my tax residency from Cyprus to Paraguay. But regardless, from since 2020, I'm paying almost 0% in taxes. Now it's a flat 0% in taxes. And yeah, life is good. I don't even need to think about accounting, it's I don't need to present anything. It's basically just making money, making sure that my company is profitable, and that's it. I don't need to worry about deductions or can I deduct this trip? Can I make this expensive count? I don't need to worry about that. It's just like money that comes in, money that comes out. Life is easier. Life is more enjoyable, to be honest with you.
Amazing. Yeah, I think UK is very similar as well, but from when I was paying taxes there. But so you went to Cyprus, and then because I'm guessing Dubai was on the blacklist, probably.
Well, actually, at the time, I wasn't even thinking about Dubai. I was just making more sense for me to live in Cyprus and in Paraguay because I enjoyed Latin America a lot. So I was thinking about spending. I spent like more than 3 years in Latin America, so that's something that I really enjoyed and something that made me go the Paraguay route instead of the Dubai route. Because for me, Middle East and everything at that point was not as interesting as it is now. Now I think it's a great time for me to be in the Middle East and explore this area. But back then, I spent more than a year and a half in Mexico. I spent time in Costa Rica, in Colombia, 5 months, in Brazil as well. So having my life in Latin America made it so simple for me to go the Paraguayan route. It's still a free
Amazing.
country. It's a free country. It's the land of the free, Paraguay. Like when you go there, you feel like nobody bothers you. It's just like you on your own. You can do whatever you want. It's such a beautiful thing.
How long have you lived there in total? I mean, been there like days.
Yeah, in total like 4 months. Like got 3 visits to Paraguay so far. But yeah, 4 months in total.
The flights must be quite long because obviously because you're from Europe, end of the day. So like, how long are the flights all? Because Paraguay is like quite all in the south.
Yeah, totally. The thing is, when I left Europe, I didn't go back to Europe in 3 years. It was a
All right.
thousand and one days since I left Spain that I came back. So was 1,001 days in basically all the American continent, from the United States to the south of Brazil, Florianopolis, and everything in between. So Europe to Paraguay, it's around 10 hours flight, 12 hours flight. Yeah,
Okay. Because you have countries obviously you have Portugal right next door to you, so is and because they do have some programs or like NHR and this Portugal has some programs.
yeah,
Is there any reason you didn't just go like next door to Portugal? You know.
yeah. I know it well. We help clients with the NHR. Actually, this week we had 2 people move there and we did the NHR for them. So I know it well. I've been to Lisbon. It's a good place, but to be honest, the lifestyle in Latin America at that time in my life when I was starting out, and I also valued, this thing of wow, I'm making money online and I can live like a king for $3,000 a month, for $2,000 a month. I live like royalty. Like you have 6,000, $8,000 a month, and you are Elon Musk in Colombia, in Brazil, in Paraguay. Like it's hard to think how am I going to spend $8,000 in Paraguay. It's difficult. It's a challenge because you can live in the best place and you're going to pay what, 2,000, 3,000 in rent. You're gonna go out every single day, lunch, dinner. What you gonna pay? $2,000, like going out to the best restaurants every single day. So, and that's 5,000. What do you do with the other 3,000? So it's really the high quality of life when you make online Wi-Fi money. So that's what I wanted. In Portugal, it's not the same, and also it's really similar to Spain. So I wanted something different. Wanted something that would challenge me. So yeah, Latin America was my place. You can, especially when you start out, you want to save costs to reinvest in the business, but at the same time have great quality of life. I don't think it's wise and business savvy to, if you're making $8,000 a month, spend 7,000 in Dubai, and just have $1,000 back to reinvest in your business. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to go the South America route, and then when money is better than moving to more expensive places, so you can also enjoy it more. For example, now in Dubai.
Okay. So are you moving there to Dubai now, or are you just visiting?
No, 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 I'm here. I'm here. I'm a UAE resident. I have my Emirates ID here. I have
Nice.
bank accounts. I have like different bank accounts here, and yeah, I'm established here. It's one of my bases right now. I'm still seeing what area of Dubai I've tried. Like in the first month that I was here, I tried 6 different hotels in different areas of the city. So every 5 days or so, I was changing just to see how I vibed. Which it's bar because JBR Marina, it's totally different than Business Bay, totally different than Dubai Frame, Al Seef area, different than JLT. So you have different vibes. It's totally different. It's one city. The Palm, for example, it's another world. So yeah, I wanted to try everything and then see what's best. But definitely Dubai, it's a place to be between October and February, hands down. Like coming in summer was good for an experience, an experiment, do some business that I wanted to hear, the residency, etc. But the weather, it's an oven, it's a sauna anytime that you go out, you'd rather go in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would when I do come, it'll most likely be in the marina because I've seen other places. I think mainly because of the networking opportunities there. I think it makes it one of the best places. The Palm is like, it's more difficult to kind of, you have to drive in and out. It's quite far out. Um, and anywhere else is, I guess, further out in some ways. But I mean, there's probably other places too. But I think that's one of the like best places to kind of network with if your main goal is networking with other
Yeah,
individuals.
totally. I made a video that was published this last week mentioning that since I came here to Dubai, just with connections, I already 10x like the price, the cost of the trip and the lodging and everything, like the stay. Just like incredible for networking. You can close deals in here, especially if you have already established business that provides services that is well rounded and everything's smooth in the operations, in the team, in the backend. That then you are ready to really give a great onboarding experience and provide fast, elite speed, because people here in Dubai, it's not about the money, it's about the speed. The wealthiest people, the wealthiest clients that we have, it's not about the money. They are ready to pay whatever they want, the best speed and premium service. So yeah, that's what we focus on. We don't compete on price, we compete on speed. So yeah, that's why here in Dubai we vibe in the same frequency with the people I meet.
Amazing, amazing.
It's a really efficient city. Like everything, the residency it's so fast. Like the food, you can order food 24 hours and you're gonna have it in your door in 20 minutes. Everything is efficient, effective. You've been here, so you can compare this to other places in the world for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Dubai is a different place, of course. It's very, very different. But yeah, of course, it does get hot, like you said, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
also you miss other things like nature. You miss other things like Europe in summer is fantastic. To be honest with you, also the freedom you have, as I said, in Paraguay, in Brazil, where things are unregulated. You can have the freedom go to the landscape, the reserves that you have there, the natural parks. It's just another world. So I think this setup that I relate to a lot of our clients is choose this is multiple bases. When you can afford it, when you have the money, like having multiple bases and go here and there and take flights and have 3, 4, 5 places that you go every year. I think it's the best because yeah, you can fulfill all of your needs.
I mean, yeah. So, which other bases are you currently? Because obviously, I mean, you mentioned Paraguay, Cyprus. Um,
Yeah,
do you have like
Mexico, Brazil, Spain,
so what
Palau,
what?
Dubai. These are
Yeah.
my all of the residencies.
What do you consider a base? Like, would you say a base is just having a residency, or also having like an apartment or a house there as well?
Yeah, correct. I have properties in different countries. Yes. I
Okay.
bought when I saw opportunities and things that I know will appreciate in value because I studied the place and I've lived there, like renting, for example, for 6 months. And I'm like, this place has potential. Then I bought. So I'm not living there. I'm just waiting for it to appreciate. Some I have Airbnb and people that help me with that. Others, it's just pure appreciation. I know that in 5 years, it's just going to blow up. And yeah, I'm just letting the clock tick. I put my bet in there, just like now it's a patience game, and that's it while I keep building. But yeah, the rest it's about renting. When I say bases, it's places that every year I would love. I feel really comfortable renting 3, 4 months and spend time there. So it could be I bought something, I have the property, or I consider it a base because it's a place that I never get tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. Having a residency, having like some place to stay, whether it's renting or buying, um, it's probably good enough. Especially if you want to go there again and again.
Yeah, totally. But I want to share here a hack, something that I've been pondering on. It's like you don't even need a home. Like people that mentioned, oh, if you have 3, 4 homes, then for example you arrive and you have your coffee machine or your teapots or whatever you like, your clothes, everything is ready, etc. It's like, yes, but you don't need that if you don't want to buy. You don't want to buy. Here's a trick: you can just have somebody, could be a contact or could be services like self storage, like a box, something like that, that you keep everything in there, and then you can give the key to somebody, or whenever you arrive to the place, the first thing you do is you have an assistant or you go yourself, and you pick the things there and you move it to the place you rented. So you can have literally 4 or 5 friends or 4 or 5 self storages in different places of the world. You don't need to have a flat. You can just rent storage, and you have the clothes, and it's as easy as going there, picking the things, bring it to your rented home, iron everything, clean everything, and set it up, and you can live 3 4 months. When you're done, you wrap it up and you put it in the storage, or you give it to your friend, and it's going to keep it for you until the next time you come. So I think that's a great way to do it while you are not ready to invest in a property, and still gain the commodity of not having to carry all your clothes or carry everything, or especially if you buy, as I mentioned, like something that you care about, like a sound system or teapots. For example, I love tea. There's people who love coffee, so they might have their coffee set, whatever. You just keep it in a room, in a space, and whenever you are back, boom, back to your normal life.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there's different ways you can do that for sure. So so when it comes to somewhere like Cyprus, for example, like what? Because obviously you left. I mean, I don't know if you went to Paraguay and then Laos and Dubai, and you went to Mexico and all the places. So like, how do you see Cyprus? Obviously, they have that 2%. You said the social fee or something, but like, how would you recommend that as a base to anyone, or would you just like, what do you think of Cyprus?
Yeah, great question. Cyprus, it's a great island for lifestyle, but it's for retired people. That's my take, to be very blunt with you. Like, right now, we are young. How old are you, man?
I'm 25.
Look, like everybody in their 20s, I think they should be, I'm in my 20s as well. Everybody should be like, that is business driven, going to places where they have network, where they have other men that sharpen them. Iron sharpens iron. If you have competition and competitivity there, and this drive, when you are surrounded by other achievers, other A players, it's the way to go. I was depressed in Colombia because I lived out of investments. At some point, I had enough capital. The principal was big enough that every month, like the ROI that I was getting from my investments, totally passive at the time, was crypto. My investments were doing really well, and I got depressed, man. Why? Because I was living in the mountains in Colombia, like everything paid, all my needs covered. I was living like a king. Like I was even like, whenever I wanted to bring some company there with me, I could enjoy it. At the time I had a girlfriend, and life was good. Woman, food, nature, workout, everything was paid, but I was missing something, which was purpose. And that is what thing in their 20s might people in their 20s, they can't think about retirement. I think men are not made to be retired, to be honest with you. When you retire, you die inside. It's a life of quiet desperation. So Cyprus, or go to, yeah, Colombia in the middle of the forest with a cabin. It was cool, but for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. I booked for a month there, and after a month, I was mentally destroyed. Like I needed some purpose again. So I think that's the thing with Cyprus. It's good, but it lacks the community or the drive you find in big capitals, like for example Dubai or Miami, if you like more the states, or other places in the world where you push yourself or you find people you can connect, build business with. I think there's an age for everything. Maybe when I'm in my 50s, I want something in Cyprus, who knows? But something more temporary. I think that places that are beautiful but lack community and lack drive and lack business opportunities are just for temporary stays. Otherwise, mentally, you're just going to be destroyed. I think depression is the path when a man does not have a purpose, that does not have a goal, is not achieving, is not conquering. So yeah, good for short trips, but then back to your mission, man.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I see yeah, because there's different places. Because like if you look at the prices to live somewhere like Dubai and Singapore, and maybe like the main cities in America, or just good places, they're usually very expensive. Like they can cost you like many thousands of dollars a month just for like one bed, two bedroom in
Yeah,
like a
I
good
agree.
yeah, in like a good location.
I agree with you, but the thing is it an expense or is it an investment? That's the thing. If you have a thriving business, as I mentioned, here in Dubai, I paid a lot of money, a lot, but I made like 6 to 7 times what I spent here. You know what I mean? Just by the opportunities. So it might be expensive for two reasons. It's like, yeah, spend time in Dubai without making any money, any profit out of it. But if you have a business, it's a place that everything that I do is like, oh, I joined a mastermind. Is it an expense? I made more money out of it. Yes, then it's not an expense; it's an investment. Oh, I paid for video editors. Every month expenses are big. For editing videos and podcasts and everything, and we are ramping up the content. But it's a way to spread the word with sovereignty, with freedom, etc. And it's a way to gather more people on this. And my purpose is to gather more like-minded people because in times that of difficulty, to have more people next to me, like everybody with their contacts, with their wealth, with their knowledge, like we are gonna win the more we are in our team. The more we are in our members community. So everybody that joins and buys one of our services, products, even like the most affordable ones on the website, they join this community and they can contribute and receive as well. So it's about this. What's the cost of not being in these cities, of not joining these communities? That yes, you can live in South America in a cabin, as I mentioned, in Colombia, in Brazil, in Mexico. But when things get rough and you are on your own, you are a lone wolf, who's gonna help you, man? Who's gonna be next to you if you didn't spend time and invest into joining these circles? You tell me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So that's why even though you could spend $3,000 living like a king in maybe Colombia or Paraguay, one of these countries, or even less than that. Um,
100%
the
for less than a
the
thousand,
thing,
man.
I like that. Yeah, like let's say 1,000, but let's say just for example, let's say it was um 3,000, for example, right? Just to compare it, like Dubai. If you're in Dubai, 3K, you might get one bed apartment in like a marina, for example. Um, Oh, maybe less, a little bit less. 3K, one bed apartment. But then you get the network, right? You're able to actually access the network. So there's a sacrifice in both ways. If you're in Colombia in the mountains, you're sacrificing having a network. If you're in Dubai in there, you're sacrificing nature and having maybe more peace around trees and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, totally. And also, not everybody's born to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's born to be a top achiever. Laziness is the path of least resistance. There's people who choose that, and it's fine. It's not for everybody. There may be someone who is, closing sales, working as a closer, and is making a commission, and can do it from wherever in the world. Maybe that person does not want to be in Dubai. Maybe that person just wants to work out, wants to eat good food, wants to rest after the sales calls, and is happy in Colombia. For example, I shared in another podcast talking about Minca. Minca, it's a gem. It's a hidden gem in the world. It's in Colombia. It's close to Santa Marta, and Minca has extremely good internet. Like I could have 70 megabytes download in the middle of the mountains at almost 2,000 meters, and it was incredible. I had nature and I had the speed to work super effectively. So if you find places like this one, then yeah, maybe you want to spend some time in there. I think that the city as well, it's a place that you hustle, you really give your best, but it's also training. To be very honest with you and with everybody listening, Dubai it's can be exhausting because it's city, it's concrete, is hustle is if you want to make the most of the opportunities is meeting people, meeting really interesting people in here. But yeah, it's not the peace and relaxation and recharging, nurturing energy of being in a cabin in Florianopolis, for example, in Brazil. So that's the theory of the multiple bases, brother.
So let's say there's like Dubai is a great spot, obviously. There's places like Singapore, which is more like an Asian version of the, but obviously it has expats from all over the world, but it's more of like the Asian side, Southeast Asia. Which other places, like there's obviously some in America, but which other places besides Dubai and Singapore do you consider to be like a good spot for entrepreneurs to be?
That's a great question. I've never been to Singapore yet. I've been invited a couple times. So I have a couple of reasons to be there for business. So I will go and explore. For now, I know Dubai. I know that Miami also has a lot of opportunities, business opportunities, big deals, big entrepreneurs are moving, you know, good pieces there on the chess game. So I would say Miami could be a good one. New York, of course, as well. This hustle culture, it's action. You could go to Austin, Texas. It's another place that I've been a couple times, and you find a lot of bright entrepreneurs living in there. Just that the quality of life, to be honest, I prefer the quality of life of Dubai than Miami, New York, and Austin. I've been to these four places, for example, and I choose Dubai. Like Dubai, it's not just what you can advance and move forward with your business; it's also everything that surrounds it. The the values, the culture, highly, of course, influenced by the Muslims. It's much different than the type of uh, how can I say it in an okay way. The type of people you have in the United States come to Dubai, go to Miami, compare, see the people in the street, see how people behave, and you're gonna see how much the environment shapes the behavior of people just by comparison. Like if you have 100 people around you that behave a certain way, you are more tilted towards that behavior than, for example, the one you find here. So I like more the conservative side that I find here on Dubai. Of course, you have everything. If you want party, if you want everything, you're gonna find it. But since there is this environment that is respectful, that you still have, this influence of the Muslims, is still, a place that I feel much more comfortable for my values, the type of person that I am. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I haven't in my life. I train once or twice a day. I, like cleanness and safety. So this is something that I can find here that it's more difficult to find in the United States. And my bet is not just right now, it's in 15 years. You asked me that question. That was a great question. What do you see in 15 years? And I think that's something that every sovereign individual should consider. Where you're planting roots today, is it going to be a place that in 15 years you want to be in, that you see potential in 15 years or not? Because it might be a good decision now, but it's even a better decision if it's good for now and good for in 15 years, and the city or the country grows with you and supports you. So everything that you build right now, it's going to be useful in a decade or two. So that's why planting roots here. Another really interesting place I want to go is Saudi Arabia, that has great project going on. I had the opportunity to talk with some leaders and people that are making big moves in there, and they explain me what's going on that it's not publicly shared yet. I'm like, Saudi Arabia on my notes.
It's nice. I've been to Saudi Arabia. It's a good place, and
What are your thoughts there? What was your experience?
I went 10 years ago, so I was very young, but 15. It's nice. It's nice. I heard they're planning to open up free zones. That's probably the thing, right?
Yeah,
I think
and also the
yeah,
tower. They say they want to build a 1 kilometer, more than 1,000 meter high tower, like even higher than the
yeah,
Burj Khalifa. It's like, okay, these people are creating things that are another level.
yeah. But what happens like because I feel like because we're getting all these 0% like Palau now, maybe Saudi Arabia. There's probably other places like they have all these 0% tax. Then what do you do, right? Like because you only need so many. So would you just keep diversifying with more and more 0% tax companies, or at what point is it like, all right, like I've got enough 0% tax, and I just want like
Yeah,
other things? Yeah,
That's a great question. I think residencies, it's something that you can stack because it opens doors. For example, if you get permanent residency in Mexico, it never expires. By law, it's forever. So it's one that once you get it, you're a permanent resident in Mexico. Boom, that's it. Unlimited access in and out of the country forever. So done, check. So one thing is residency that gives you some benefits. For example, a client wanted to pay me and had some problems paying me, and because I'm a resident in Brazil and I have access to Pix, which is the local type of, it's like the Swift or the IBAN here in Europe that makes it seamless, the transactions. The Pix is like an easy way to receive money in Brazil, but to do that you need the CPF, which is the number in Brazil to have a Pix account, etc. So it makes business easier having multiple residencies. If I can have, for example, I have 22 bank accounts right now in 10 different countries, I have 8 different currencies. That makes it seamless for me to receive money from every client practically in the world. So it's easy for my business to receive cash flow because I'm making it easier for people to pay me and to do business with, because I have all these residencies, all these bank accounts, all these currencies, physical cash, like crypto, like everything. I built this for 4 years and now it's an asset. On the flip side, tax residencies, you only have one. You don't pay taxes in multiple places. Does not make sense. So to me, like the idea of trying different ones is like, okay, Cyprus, it's the best that I knew at that time. But then it was no longer. It was Paraguay. But then I realized, well, Paraguay, Dubai, so it has pros and cons, and you have to decide one. And because your life changes and your lifestyle changes, what was good 2 years ago and Paraguay was the max, the best of the best in your mind and in your scope, what you can envision. Then you realize that as you step up, it's still good, but there are other options. So I think that your tax residency is something that always needs to match your lifestyle at where you're at. The moves, the chess moves. For example, I'm a chess player. I started playing chess when I was 5, win some tournaments when I was 8. Like chess shaped my life. I'm so grateful for my parents that introduced me to chess from such an early age. And you got to see that the moves you make when you make under $100,000, between 100,000 and 500,000, or a million, 10 million, 100 million, that we help some clients. The setups that we need to build for them are not the same for people who are starting it, making money. So I see the world as a big chessboard, and I even share some analogies with chess. For example, the residencies being the rooks, where you have your bases, your castles. Then you have your bishops, which are your tax residencies. Diagonally, they can move across the board from very far points, squares on the board. You have the pawns, which are your network, your banks that facilitate transactions and moves. And the queen, that, for example, are your passports. So you can have one passport, you can have a couple passports, you can have multiple passports, 3, 4, 5 passports. That makes your traveling borderless and seamless. And your king, following this analogy, is the lifestyle. And the last one is the knights, which are your legal structures. For example, a trust, holding, you can have offshore bank accounts, you can have offshore companies. So these protect your assets and ensure that the money you keep and the assets you buy are protected. So marriage, you get divorced, you get sued, whatever happens, the government goes after you, you are protected. They can't find anything because it's not in your name or because it's protected with 2 or 3 layers. So
Yeah.
nobody can seize your assets. So going to your question, the tax residencies, the structures, it's something that's fluid. I don't think one is forever. It's something that needs to evolve as we evolve as a sovereign individual, as an entrepreneur, a businessman.
Yep. Yep. Amazing. Yeah. So um, one option I don't see many people talking about, which is actually next door to your country, um, which is also 0% tax. Obviously, there's probably some, I think, there's all some nuances, but Gibraltar. What are your thoughts on that? And I don't know how much you know about it, but is it truly 0% tax? But yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like it, man. You go to really, tiny places like Palau, like Gibraltar, like you did your research. That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, definitely. Gibraltar is a good place for banking. We advise clients and we help clients open 100% remotely account in Gibraltar. So for people to locate Gibraltar, it's close to Andalusia, the south of Spain, close to Morocco as well. There's this little, like, I think it's 14 kilometers of sea between Africa, Morocco, and Europe, Spain, Gibraltar. So it's a really special place. It's not a place that I've set a tax residency. It's not a place that I have physically visited, but it's a place that we put chess pieces in there. Like, for example, as I mentioned, the banking side, which is really advantageous, has good benefits for many of our clients, and it makes sense at certain point of their wealth.
Yep.
Did you study in
Yeah.
Gibraltar? What do you know about it?
Yep. Yep. I'm very familiar with it. Obviously, there's obviously owned British territory. They use British systems there, and um, yeah, opposite Morocco. Because I'm from Morocco myself, so I was just been researching it quite a lot just to see like um, where it came from. But yeah, and I heard it does have 0% incorporation if you're like a remote, if you don't actually live there. But obviously, there's this nuances to really figure out how to actually set it up and stuff. But it's interesting to see somewhere in Europe that people can actually like do something about. I think the real issue is um, like where you're gonna live. That's also gonna like help you with that situation, right? Because you can't just set it up then and just go back to Spain, and then
Well,
Spain's gonna tax you.
actually, I can live in Spain 5 months and 3 weeks every single year, which is plenty, to be honest. Like, when I'm like 1 month in Spain or a month and a half, I'm done. Like, I'm ready to go somewhere else. So I don't need that much, and I still have room for up to 6 months per year. But actually, there are ways, and I know people who have tax residencies somewhere else. For example, clients in Paraguay, that there are strategies if you know how to live in Spain 12 months a year and not pay taxes to Spain in a way that you go under the radar. So it's all about knowing the rules of the matrix. It's like, again, the chess game analogy. It's so good. Like the chess game. Why do some people? You tell me, Lotfi. Why some people lose every chess game and there are chess grandmasters? Because the chess is the same pieces, the same 16 pieces, the same 64 squares. What's the difference? It's how you play the pieces. It's not the rules. The rules are quite similar for everybody. Not like in real life. Of course, if you have more money, less rules apply to you. Rules are for the middle class. For everybody listening, if they didn't think about this concept, rules are for the middle class. If you don't have money, if you are homeless, most of the rules like don't even apply to you. If you are like an ultra high net worth individual, rules don't apply to you. Believe me. Like, above certain levels, you can pay for almost everything you want and get what other people can't get and what they publicly say you can't get by law, whatever. There are always ways. Laws bent in your favor when you are above a certain money threshold. And we see this again and again and again everywhere in the world. Just like in Europe and the United States or the UAE, for example, it's more expensive. To get there, you have to be multimillionaire. But for example, in South America, rules start to be bent for you. High 5 figures, low 6 figures. You can already have things in your favor if you have that amount of money to invest in countries or with the right context. So yeah, that's that's it, man. It's about where you are in in net worth, and also will determine how you want to live and the decisions. Like, I want to live with 6 figures. Latin America, Southeast Asia might be good places. I'm a multimillionaire, then probably I can make the most of more expensive places that I can access these privileges. I think it's about self awareness. Everybody has its journey, and I'm so grateful that I came from a really humble family. I was born in a fisherman town, 20,000 inhabitants in the north coast, northern than Barcelona. It's called Girona, a bit south from France, a couple hours from France, and man, like, I got nothing. The first months of doing business, of finishing my degree at university, I was working two jobs, one as a nutritionist and one selling running shoes, like every single day, selling shoes for nothing, for like a salary that was nothing. I had to share my flat with two other people, and I was sleeping in a mattress, like literally on the floor for 11 months. And I have shared some videos and pictures of how was that life. So I'm so grateful that I could see from the contrast from nothing, like literally nothing, and surviving with $500 a month, doing whatever I could, to now living the life that I'm living on my 20s. So I'm not even like at my peak.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, things can change obviously when you make the decisions. But I think a lot of people they don't even want to make those decisions anyway. So it's like obviously some people do, but like many people even if you give it to them on a plate, they still wouldn't go for it. So especially things like because I'm from England, or I've been there the past 15 years in England. Obviously, they're way more strict with the tax residency. I know in Spain you can do 5 months. There's no way that's going to pass in the UK. There's a lot less days. So let's just like not gonna have to leave us because not, which means all my family's still there and I've got family there, and so it's if someone did want to leave because I have clients in UK, you know, these are things like when I ask them, these are things that come up because they feel they're kind of like stuck in the system. So and they don't want to like make that move because it's very difficult for them.
Yeah, totally. It comes from the environment, what you consume, like what you listen to, the people you have around you. I have people that were influenced to, for example, take the job for the environment they had around them. There were people that had neutral position, and because of the environment, some people went through that route, some other people because they enjoyed another environment, another rhetoric, another logical thinking, they didn't go that route. So I think that the environment shapes you a lot. If you consume the news, if you consume the newspaper, and you hear people around you all the time saying, oh, you need to pay taxes, everybody needs to pay taxes, nobody can avoid that. It's bullshit. Taxes are optional, man. Taxes are optional. I'm going to say once again, taxes are optional. You don't need to pay taxes, you choose to pay taxes because there are so many ways you can legally not pay taxes. So if everybody around you says you need to pay taxes because I'm also paying 30, 40, 50, 60%, some places in Europe, 60% in taxes, you normalize it. You think, oh, well, then I just need to increase my revenue because the government is just going to take a 52%, 60% cut at the end of the quarter or the year. So it's all about the environment. That's why I say, like, travel. When you travel, you start seeing that what you believed, it's not the only truth. There are more realities, and you have to choose in which one you want to tap into. Like what lane you can choose, and it's so fast to switch lanes. I wish I knew this earlier. It's so fast. For example, booking a plane ticket to Dubai or booking a plane ticket to Latin America just switches lanes like this. Boom. Your life is completely different. You start thinking differently. You see reality different. You see people living differently. It's like, wow. And something that I learned from Jordan Peterson, maybe you've heard him and heard him speak. He mentioned that when you go to different places and you change your environment, there's something called epigenetics. So you have your DNA, but your DNA can be expressed or suppressed. So it's like a switch. The genes can be activated or deactivated depending on your habits. If you smoke, if you drink, if you practice sport, and people around you and the places you are in. So we as humans have more potential than we realize. Because yes, you have a genetic code that you can change, but what you can change, it's the ones that express and not express. So this gives us empowerment as men to say, hey, when I change my habits, when I change my lifestyle, when I change my environment, I can change my DNA at that biological, physiological level. It's incredible. You go to places with other men that are pushing you and you start training twice a day. Your body changes, your mind changes, your business changes, your reality changes, everything around you. So I would encourage everybody to take more flights and go places where they belong, because you might be born someplace that you don't feel you belong there.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking about travel, like how, because obviously, you kind of live like an international life. You're here, you're in South America, you're different places. Now you're in Dubai. So like, how do you like plan out travels and like where you're gonna go and stuff throughout the year, but also while staying like focused on your business and running that efficiently? Because obviously, you want to have some periods of time where you can just lock in and focus, but so you don't always want to be like catching flights. So how do you kind of balance those two things?
Yeah, something that I did earlier that I don't want to do anymore is change cities every 7 days, every 5 days, every 14 days. When I go somewhere like Dubai, yes, I can, for example, say, okay, I want to try 6 different hotels, 6 different areas in Dubai because I want to get as much information as I can from me, not from what I read, what I see in the internet, how I feel, how I vibe in those places. But I'm still in Dubai. You know what I mean? So staying in a place for longer than a month allows you to experience new places, but it also allows you to have a routine and have time to focus on what you want to do. That's one. And secondly, it's having a team. To be honest, like changed my life to go from being an entrepreneur to being a business owner, from trying to do everything myself to having a strong team that have clear KPIs that know exactly where we are going, to have a clear vision for everybody, makes it much easier for me to have time to still plan trips and go here and there and make the most of business opportunities. For example, sometimes, how do I decide the flights? You asked. Well, sometimes it's, hey, Miquel, come here. There's a business opportunity in Miami. And I'm like, oh, I'm going there. And I'm planning, for example, 30 days in Miami. And I can make the most of all the opportunities. And then I try and I contact everybody. Not try, I do it. I contact everybody in there and make as much business as I can in these 30 days in Miami. Podcasts, meeting people in person, closing deals, whatever it is. Then another opportunity appears in Dubai, another opportunity appears in Saudi Arabia, another in Singapore. So big part is driven by my business, to be honest, and the other is by curiosity.
Yep. Yep. 100%. I like that. Personally, I like to, for right now, I like to do like 2 to 3 months. So right now I'm in Denmark. I've been here. I'll be here close to 3 months, end of this month, and then gonna go to Asia and other places. So I like to do like 1 to 2 months, ideally. 7 days. I don't know how this 7 days is pretty crazy. I might do something like that when I travel around Europe. Maybe next year, do like 7 days each place, travel around. But do you have that? Do you want to be like have have kind of a thing where you travel to different places, like unique places to see it, or is that not really like a priority? Like a goal, for example.
Like which one?
Is that like one of your goals to like see new places?
No, to be honest, no.
Okay.
Like these people that say I want to visit the 196 countries of the world. It's not me, brother. There are so many places that I don't need to see. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like my son, my grandson, myself in another life, it's maybe gonna do it, but not me, brother. It's not me. I'm
Oh,
really focused. I know what I want. I know what are the priorities. I know what makes me happy. Um, Sometimes I went to places for a waterfall or to do some skydiving or here and that parachuting. It's like, yeah, but it does not fulfill myself. I'm an achiever. I know my personality. I have drive. I love competition. Um, this type of person that thrives in difficulty, thrives in challenges. I love difficulty. I love complexity. I just love it. I'm much happier building a brand, building a business, helping other people pay 0% taxes legally, helping our clients get multiple passports in record time because we know how. And it's like, I'd rather do more of these than just bask in leisure and visiting new countries and this and that. To me, it's making it a business thing for now. For now, maybe in the future changes, of course. Like how I thought 3 years ago, it's totally different from today, and it will be from 3 years. I'm aware of that, but right now, it's about building business, building foundations. To me, the ability to be a man, to be a provider, to be somebody that can treat everybody in my circle really well. Know that not just me, I can fly in the best planes or I can go to the best hotels, 5-star hotels, but everybody around my circle can do that as well and I can provide for them. To me is what it's my purpose in my 20s. 20s are to build. I think men need to build in their 20s So then when they reach their peak in their 30s, they have a foundation, they have something that they can provide, they can share. And yeah, life gets better and better the more you scale the position and you are from the 10%, the 5%, to the top 1%, to the 0.1%, to etc., etc., of everything, all the areas of your life. Physical strength, right? You can protect physically, you can provide financially, you can, have also the mindset and well read, well studied, well traveled. So you can have things interesting to share, and you can vision things that other people can see because you can connect points because of your experiences that other people don't even see. So you seize opportunities that others can't seize. And this is fascinating. And this all only happens with self reflection, traveling, inputting a lot of information, and then digesting it and, having some outcome. So to me, traveling for the sake of traveling is just like entertainment, but I don't see the purpose of it. I'd rather do it, but tied to something that has more purpose and meaning in my life, for sure.
Amazing, amazing. So just to wrap things up, I think we can get into like what you do. So obviously you showed a few passports and residencies. Like just quickly, like which passports do you help clients get? I don't know if you can get into that or not, but if you can, be good to share.
Yeah, yeah,
But you
sure.
can, or yeah.
Yeah. We help depending. For example, the easiest way, there are 5 different ways you can get a passport, which is technically a citizenship. Okay, because the passport, this thing, it's empty. It's just like a thing that helps you put stamps on and everything. But the benefits come from the citizenship, from being a Spanish citizen. For example, I could have an expired passport that has zero benefits, right? So the
Yeah.
thing is the citizenship, but I understand that we always refer to as a passport for easy language. But yeah, we help people get, for example, citizenship by descent. We have a program that helps people seek up to 5 generations of their ancestors and realize that they have 1, 2, or even 3 passports they can claim because a parent, a great grandparent, or a great great grandparent was from Poland, was from Brazil, was from Portugal, and then very easily, affordably as well, they can get a new citizenship and they can claim it. So that's one route. Another one, if somebody's married or has a kid in some country, for example, Mexico or Brazil, by any of these 2 routes that I mentioned, you can get permanent residency and you can get as well citizenship, not just for the children, but also for yourself and for the spouse. Then we help people with investment, citizenship by investment, which is popular in the Caribbean. And there are other countries that if you are a valuable individual for the country, places like Serbia, places like even the UAE, if you are valuable enough, they're gonna grant you a golden visa for 10 years or even the passport. Even people say, oh, it's impossible to get it. Again, it's impossible for the majority, for the middle class. But yes, you can get the UAE passport if you know how and if you have the resources. And yeah, basically these routes we help people study and see which one makes sense for them because not all the passports make sense. It's like why would you want to have 2 Korean passports or pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a passport that opens visa-free traveling to places you will not even go to? So it's something that needs study. It's something tailored, bespoke. But since I already have my own experience with passports, I'm on my way to 5 passports. It's going to be for probably in the next 3 years. I will have already the 5 passports that I want. Then I have the 7 legal residencies. I had multiple tax residencies, and we helped our clients get all of these. We have something unique, which is in-field experience. We are in the trenches. I am there. I get my hands dirty, so I know exactly the ins and outs of the process, and that's what people make them choose to work with us.
Okay, amazing. So you help them get passport residencies. But what I'm because there's a lot of other companies that do this, right? Like, because one of my friends which you interviewed, like Raphael, he does that as well. Obviously, the passports residency is mainly in Dubai. So, and there's other companies as well, which are probably on Google, and you mentioned some of them too. But it's like like let's say, because you're in Dubai now, like let's say you can help someone get um, I don't know, some passport in Europe or something. Let's say they have a connection to Italy. Like, how do you go about that? Obviously, without potentially revealing, I don't know, some like competitive details. Like, what how do you actually go about the process? Do you have your team contact the government? Do you have government connections? Like, what's like the general idea of like how it happens?
Yeah, exactly. It's about building teams. It's been years that I've met people in person, that I've done one, two, three, five interviews, five coffees, five dinners, five lunches with people all over the world. We are working with over 16 countries right now. We can get residency, offshore bank accounts, like open 100% remotely. That everybody needs to go there in person, but because we know the CEO, because we know the board of directors, for example, in Panama, we are one of the few teams in the world that can open companies crypto friendly, no frozen funds accounts in Panama, and it's massive. It's really advantageous for clients. So it's about building these unique connections, and this makes us unique. And also the fact that the services that, for example, we offer, that I offer in the website, it's things that I put my money first. It's the difference between people that you find in YouTube sharing, the advantages of the UK LLP, but never got the UK LLP, or never got the US LLC, or they say, oh yeah, the residency here and there, the Emirates ID is like, yeah, where's your Emirates ID? This is mine. And what are your bank accounts? Well, I have 22, so I have a few bank accounts, and I've gone to a few places in the world that I know exactly how the banking works in and out, how to open the account, how to close the account, how to negotiate raises in the credit card limit, how to get funding in the United States, etc., etc. So I think it's about integrity. It's about people knowing that, okay, this guy here that speaks four languages fluently, like English and six in total, that have gone to all of these countries, 25 countries, more than 100 cities. I think it's about integrity. Okay, this guy walked the walk. He has what I want to want, what I want to do. This process. He already has the residency. He already has the bank account. So it's not about sharing knowledge, it's about sharing wisdom and real life experience. And Rafael is a great guy. For example, we partner with some services together, so I think it's not a competition. There are so many people in the world that are paying taxes. These two things, and we can wrap it up, but a lot of millions of people that pay taxes in the world. So it's an immense market for everybody, for Rafael, for Andrew Henderson, Nomad Capitalist, for many people in this industry. There's a huge need that we need to help people. And number two, there are so many people in the world, millions, that have just one passport, that are not even fathoming the advantages that would be for them and for their family and for all their bloodline to have multiple passports. So just saying that there are millions of people in these two scenarios, and that there are a few of us that actually walk the walk. It's a blue ocean. It's a place that I'm so happy to share with other bright minds, like you mentioned, Rafael, wealthy expat. We did a podcast together. Great guy. We talk often on via text. We call. So yeah, it's something beautiful to see that other people are helping in the same way that I'm doing to help people become more sovereign. Oh wait, the camera just stop. Give me a second.
No.
Switch the battery. Single. Yeah. Oh, not yet.
All right, we're back. Okay, so
Yeah, we
um,
can wrap it up.
one thing I was going to say is like, because you mentioned multiple passports, but obviously some people they like in the EU or certain countries like Singapore, they don't allow dual citizenships, right? So I think that technically means like it's illegal to have another passport. So is there so I guess two ways. Is there a way around it? And then secondly, um yeah, is there still a way to do it? But feel free to go into as much as you're able to, or whatever you can share on that.
Yeah, these are some of the parts that you need to strategize. You need to think well. For example, getting a Japanese passport makes no sense if you need to pronounce all the other three or four passports that you want to get. So it's part of the strategy. Many countries around the world, luckily, allow you to be dual, multiple citizenships. So it's about thinking well where you want to go to have complementary passports so they are not redundant with one another. That basically open doors to as many countries as possible. And not just that, but also grants advantages like passports and citizenships, again, are not just visa free options, are also investment opportunities that unlock for you. It's about quality of life, it's access to resources, access to, for example, having cars at your name, vehicles, or having properties at your name, etc. For example, Mexico. If you have the Mexican passport, you can buy properties closer to 50 kilometers to the ocean. If not, you have to do it via a trust. So citizenships is what you want out of life, which is again the chessboard analogy, the king. It's your lifestyle, it's you. What do you want? And then everything, all the other pieces, the knights, the bishops, the rooks, the pawns, the queens, support that vision, that lifestyle. So it's about thinking well.
Okay, amazing. And if people want to reach out to you to work with you and your company, what would be the best way to do that?
I always recommend to not book directly, to first watch the free content, because if they don't like the free content, let me tell you a secret, they are not gonna like the paid content. So first see the free content. If you love this podcast, then yes. If you want to contact us, me, myself, or my team is gonna assist you. So the best way is to go to our website, miqueljournes.co, and in Twitter as well. They can DM us or they can go to YouTube. They are gonna always find the links to the right services. So usually under each video, if we talk about Panama, if we talk about US LLCs, UK LLPs, talk about residencies, passports, they're gonna find the link below that video for that specific service. So it's easier for them in a few clicks. They can get it done. And yeah, that's the best way.
Okay, amazing. Sounds good. So I hope people reach out. This interview is for business owners, and obviously, like you said, it's obviously not. I think you are in a very special type of business where it's not. You can't just spin up a landing page and just take up clients. You have to have connections in 16 countries and governments, and so it's a complicated business to run. So yeah, I look forward to seeing people reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely. We're just getting started.
All right,
So yeah,
thank you
it's
for
gonna get
coming on,
better and
bro.
better. Thank you so much. Have a good one.